In today's Leeds news, Yassine Bounou linked with move to Leeds, suspension table for Leeds United running, Manchester City youngster linked with move to Leeds, and new Leeds home shirt leaked online. Hey folks, Jay here at The View on the 12th of April. It is Wednesday and there's very little news going around because all of yesterday's stuff was still dominating it. The John Kevin Augustin stuff is still very heavily dominating the rumor mills and what's going around. So not a massive amount. I'll just start off my one a week. If you like the channel, if you want to help the channel grow, you can do so by subscribing to the channel or liking the videos and sharing them. It helps present the video to more and more people when you do that. So that helps in turn, obviously, that makes the channel grow. That's how it works. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. So we'll start off and we'll get into this. And we'll start off. And according to Spanish outlet Fichias, Leeds are being linked with a move for Sevilla keeper Yassine Bounou. Bounou, a 32-year-old goalkeeper playing at Seville, and an interesting track record, actually. He has had 47 appearances for Atletico Madrid between 2012 and 2016, and he's racked up 88 appearances for Sevilla in his second spell. His first spell at Sevilla was on loan where he played 6 times, but he has actually scored a goal for Sevilla as well. So rated as a very highly rated goalkeeper. He has 54 caps for Morocco as well. His contract currently at Sevilla runs out in 2024, and the player himself is said to be frustrated at his time at Sevilla and is looking for a move elsewhere. However, there is interest in the keeper from other places as well. It's not mentioning who, it just says sources claim there are interest from other parties as well. So, not crystal clear right now, but a very experienced goalkeeper. Whether Leeds would look to bring him in as a second choice, which I'd be shocked at because he's very much a first choice goalkeeper, or whether Leeds are looking to bring in an experienced goalkeeper at the back. Has had spells in Serie A as well, so is very much an experienced goalkeeper. So that's the interesting one with that. Moving on to the suspension table, and a lot of people have been asking about this, so I thought I'd include this. And the 4 yellow card or 5 yellow card rule doesn't apply after a certain cutoff point in the Premier League season. And with Leeds picking up some silly yellow cards in the last game, Willie Gnonto and Weston McKennie, again, to be examples of two players who are going out of their way to get booked for nothing to do with football reasons. Where do Leeds sit in the table coming into the running, and what's the suspension situation? Well, there is a rule that states that if you have 10 yellow cards by the end of game week 32, you automatically get a 2-game suspension. Leeds are lucky, and we're in that bracket. We've checked it out. Leeds don't have any players over, at 8 games left, 8 games played in this point, don't have any players over 8 yellow cards. So even with the next 2 games, which would bring Leeds to 32 games, Leeds don't have anybody that will cross that pole. You've got Robin Koch, Weston McKennie, Willie Gnonto sitting on 5 and 6 yellow cards. Each Cox on 6, the rest are on 5. So not the worst case scenario there. So Leeds should be okay from a suspension perspective for the run-in, assuming we don't pick up any more any red cards along the way, or second yellow cards during games along the way. Right, let's move on. Let's talk about other players being linked with Leeds. And according to The Guardian, Leeds are having a strong look at Manchester City youngster Shay Charles. Shay Charles is a defensive midfielder, primarily, but can deputise at right back or at centre back. He is currently ranked as the player behind Calvin Phillips, who is behind Rodri, but is the captain of the Manchester City under-21 side and a highly rated player. He doesn't have any senior appearances yet for Manchester City, but he has made the bench in their Champions League game against RB Leipzig. 19-year-old, as I said, is the captain of the under-21 side, very, very highly rated, but is feeling that his pathway into the Manchester City first team is blocked by the amount of defensive midfield talent. We've seen how reluctant Guardiola is to give Calvin Phillips starting minutes ahead of Rodri. This kid is behind him again, so that doesn't look good for him. His deal at the club does run until 2027, and Leeds are not the only club that are keeping an eye on Charles. He has been also linked with moves to Borussia Dortmund as well as Brentford as well, who are keeping a strong look at the player. Be a tough one to get. Leeds are still looking at bringing in young talent. It's working out quite well in the short term. We've seen a lot of young talent in the under-21 side with a lot of prospects, but we haven't seen them yet break through into the first team to see what they're capable of. Angus Kinnear obviously talking recently about the Leeds finances and the prospect of relegation. And what he said was that if Leeds did go down, they have a wealth of youth in the club, which would stand them in good stead should that happen. Moving on, let's talk about the last bit today. There really isn't an awful lot going around. We're talking about Leeds United shirts. I was looking up to see a couple of shirts last weekend, but I can't talk about it. But we'll talk about one, and that's the one that has been leaked out. Sorry, and that is the new Leeds United home shirt, which we've said before has this similarity to a Swedish change strip that was going around a couple of years ago. I really like this. It's back to the normal blue that Leeds should have, and the normal yellow Leeds have, not this navy blue and watered down yellow. It has a peacock emblem embossed across the entire shirt, and just on the back of the shirt, it has the old Leeds United peacock crest that Leeds once had. Question I'm asking on this is, it's interesting to see that being used on the back of the shirt. We talked before about the failed attempt from Angus Kinnear to introduce a new crest to Leeds, and I wonder, is this peacock stuff starting to come back? I have seen another shirt of Leeds that also has a peacock design and bell embossed in it as well. So you can see there on screen. I put two up. One is the one that's floating around, and then I've just gone and stuck a sponsor on the other one just to give you an idea what it would look like with a sponsor on it as well. So it's a lovely shirt. It's a lovely shirt. It's definitely one I'll be purchasing. The away and third kits yet to be released. I think people will like them. From what I've seen, I think people will like them, but I can't talk about that just yet. So we'll move on, and I won't move on because that's it for today, folks. Thanks as always for watching and supporting the channel, and I will see you tomorrow morning back with more Leeds news. Have a cracking day, and I'll see you then.